now going in the right direction, albeit slowly, unemployment as well. Does this mean there's less pressure now on the ECB to act?
At least in the very short term there is. I think inflation is still on a downtrend, but it's not as dramatic as the data for October would have suggested when the ECB reacted immediately and cut rates. Now with that a bit of a bounce back in inflation, the talk about deflation will probably recede. The arguments of the hawks are strengthened that maybe that rate cut came prematurely, and therefore I don't think that the ECB is going to act at that level next week.
Do you think the rate cut came a bit too early?
No, I think the downtrend is there, and the ECB seized on the opportunity, if you like, to do more to support the economy. There's clearly no inflationary risk, so cutting rates was the right move. However, had the data that we know today come out a month earlier, they probably wouldn't have, because the hawks would have had a much stronger position, the Germans and the Austrians.
Now, the thing that is very clear is that the bloc's haves and have-nots, this gap is getting wider, and never mind unemployment. As you know, levels are quite different in different countries. What do you think the ECB can and should do about this?
Well, the ECB's target is to keep Eurozone inflation as a whole around 2% or just below 2%, in fact. And that's very important because countries need to, over time, adjust, for instance, their wages and broader economic costs. Therefore, inflation rates have to diverge every once in a while. In fact, the divergence we see at the moment is actually positive because it shows that the labor markets in the Greece's, Spain's, and so on of the Eurozone are adjusting. Wages are coming down. Competitiveness is increasing, while in Germany, on the other hand, wages are rising and therefore inflation is also higher. So it's actually a positive part of the rebalancing process in the Eurozone. But the ECB has to keep in mind, of course, that overall inflation has to be at the right level.
Okay, to keep the recovery going along, do you think the ECB should take a leaf out of Shinzo Abe's book, for example?
Well, the ECB will be discussing all sorts of other options to support the recovery. Clearly, the recovery is picking up a bit of pace if you look at the confidence data yesterday, but it does that despite an ongoing credit crunch in some of the peripheral countries. So, for instance, in Italy, we see some signs of that. Now, the asset quality review is coming. The ECB could do more in terms of liquidity provision at some stage, so LTROs are an option, but I don't think that any of these things will really come at this coming meeting next week.